Our claim last week was, is screen time, such as TV, video games, phone or tablet, and levels of physical activity correlated? So when you say correlated, one variable, such as your screen time, causes the other to either increase or decrease. So it's kind of like, will you be more active, meaning involved in physical activity, or you will be less the more you watch and do your screen time? So that's actually what we're trying to find out. That's why we collected data from our classmates, or if you used other people outside school, that's okay too. Jasmine, maybe your data that you lost is not in your personal school email, but it must have been copied over to your personal. Otherwise, you need to go to Google Drive. Jasmine, go to Google Drive and click recent on the left side to find it. Okay, so you should find copy of couch potato. So that's gonna be the name of your treat. So that's gonna be our claim, because we are going to prove this by looking at the data that we collected from the spreadsheet. So that's gonna be our goal today. Okay, so before we start, first step is for us to be in here in our Google form. And many of us already have figured out how to get the spreadsheet, but I will repeat one more time. So I need all your attention, please. Okay, so even if you already did this, pay attention, because this is very helpful later on when we do more data collecting. Okay, all right. So once you already have your own copy opened that you already made from last Friday, you will be able to get the spreadsheet by clicking on the middle top part. It says responses. And then there is green plus sign. That is the Google spreadsheet that you'll create. It's going to ask you to create a spreadsheet if you haven't done so. But if you already did, when you open it, it's going to open this spreadsheet where people's responses are recorded. And this is what we need to have in front of us today, like right now in this sync time, because we are going to do something with our data. Please have the spreadsheet open. You can unsubmit your Google spreadsheet so you can edit. Like whoever turned in with a Google spreadsheet, unsubmit it and open the Google spreadsheet. If you don't have your spreadsheet because you forgot to turn it in, you have to go to Google Drive and find your Google form to be able to create your Google spreadsheet. Okay? All right. Go for it. I'll give you guys a few seconds to make sure that you have your spreadsheet open like so. Okay, so we're going to do this step by step because this is what we're going to do for our async time. So that when you do your async, it's going to be very, very easy. Can you go to the very last row and type in total? And then just below it, put average. You can put a line or a border line, just like I do, if you want. If you don't want to, then that's fine. It's just making it defined. So again, highlight, and then there's like a 4 squares, like a window, and then you put that. Okay, so that you know that that's what we are gonna fill out today also. Now, once you're done with that, please go to column C. Column C, column is vertical, and we should be on here on column C. How many hours of TV do you watch per week? We are going to do some coding, not the robotics coding, but we are going to code the numbers, meaning we're going to remove the descriptions, but instead it's going to be converted into numbers. So the choices are 1 to 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours, more than 4 hours, okay? And we're gonna interpret it like a code. So if your code says more than 4 hours, we are going to shift it to 5 hours. Okay, so we're going to type it in, more than 4 hours, highlight it and remove it and change it to 5 hours. Okay, so if the answer of the person is more than 4 hours, that means you're going to round it up. So I'm just going to type it up. If it's more than 4 hours, it's 5. If it's 3 to 4 hours, that is 4. So you're going to use the higher number. Okay, again, higher number. And then 1 to 2 is 2 hours. When it says 2 to 3 hours, that is 3 hours. Okay, so that's going to be our code. So make sure that you put your coding. So it's going to be, okay, so it's going to be like this. And then if it says none, it's going to be 0. Okay, so none is 0. Okay, so that's going to be our code. Okay, now we're going to do the same on column D. So we're going to do the next column, which is D. We're going to do the same coding. Okay, so none is 0. 1 to 2 is 2 hours. Okay, or just put 2. More than 4 hours is 5. 1 to 2 hours is 2. And then none is 0. More than 4 hours is 5. Okay, 3 to 4 is 4. More than 4 hours is 5. Okay. All right. So we are coded for columns C and D now. So guess what we're going to do on column E? On average hours on your device. What are we going to do here next? Are we still going to code them?
Yeah.
Yes, we're still going to code them. So more than 4 hours, once again, is 5. More than 4 hours is 5. None is 0. 3 to 4 is 4. So when we do kind of like a research or something, we use a code to make it easier for us to understand our data. Because we just don't collect data, we try to understand them. So that's actually what this is for. And in order for us to understand them, we need to do fixed value. Okay, so it's kind of like really making sure that we are understanding our data. So column F, there's nothing to code because they're all descriptions of the hobbies or sports. So we'll leave it alone because you will just, you know, this is kind of like just an information that you, oh, okay, so most of the people like basketball here and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like a description. So column G is what we need to code one more time. So column G, again, how many hours do you participate in sports or hobbies? The higher number is what we're going to code for. So 1 to 2 is 2. 2 to 4 is 4. Okay, so if you have an option that says more than 6 hours, that is 7. Okay, so let's just do it at 7 because that's the kind of like our max. Okay, we're going to now go to column H. Before we do column H, can you please hit the yes button if you have coded all our number values? Okay, so once we are done with that, please go to column H, and this time we're just going to do a simple counting of whoever says more interested to physical activity or less interested in physical activity. So you just put more, who said more, and who said less. Okay, so you just count them and make it into a number. Okay, so go ahead and start counting. So in my case, I have 6 people says more. I got 4 people says less. Okay, so you just have to count who said more, who said less. Okay, now let's go back to column C. And this time I'm going to teach you how to add these numbers using a command in spreadsheet. Okay, so let's go to column C and the last on the total, just by the total. we are going to add these numbers right here. Okay, so here's the step. First step, equal sign, put an equal sign, and then type in sum or SUM. And then once you have that, open parenthesis. All right, so make sure that you have exactly what I wrote down. Equal, SUM, and then parenthesis. Sum is like the total, right? You add. And then highlight all the numbers from the top, the first response, all the way down. That will create kind of like what, like the scope of what you wanted to add. So again, you're gonna highlight, and it's gonna automatically write down a code that says C2 to C11. It's gonna add all these numbers. Equivalently, you can use a calculator, but it makes a longer time. So after that, hit close parenthesis. So you should be able to see the same way I do in here. Sum equals, and then sum, open parenthesis, highlight the numbers, and then close parenthesis. And when you hit enter, boom, it's gonna add the numbers. We're gonna do the same thing over again. Equal sign, sum, open parenthesis, and then highlight the numbers you want to add above, and then close parenthesis, and then enter. Okay, so do that in column E, which is how many hours per week on a device. And then the last one we're gonna add will be how many hours do you participate in sports or hobbies. All right, once you're done with that, we go back to column C, and this time we're gonna get the average. So in order for you to get the average, you are going to divide total hours divided by number of people who responded. Okay, so here are the number of people. Depending on how many people you have, our requirement was 10, right? So you just simply divide 34 for me divided by 10. So that makes it 3.4, right? The reason why I said 10, it's easy to divide. You just move the decimal point to the left, right? So do that 3.4 hours. I'm just gonna put hours because this is what it means. Yes, we do have to have 10, Jasmine, because it'll make our data much more accurate. That is the most important thing, because you might not be able to answer the conclusion and make your conclusions if your data is not enough. Okay, because it might give you like, it's kind of like not going to give you enough information. Our assignment in Google Classroom for the async has already been launched, and we'll have that ready for you, because you will just copy information from your spreadsheet when you answer our Google form async work. So keep this open, and your async work is gonna be couch potato or nurse or victim data analysis and conclusion lab report. Whew, that's long. In short, lab report. Okay, write down your last name, first name, and then we already did step 1. And all you need to do is to go to step 2 by copying your answers from the spreadsheet. And all the way down, you just copy answers from the spreadsheet. All right, so go for it and start working on your async work. Great job. And you guys can go and have a great day.